been reworking in my mind some of my theories that I previously dispelled as myths created by the British intelligence services, indeed, regarding the Russian intelligence services. I had previously stated that the Russian intelligence services weren't a true threat to the West, but I've now rethought this theory, and I believe that the Russian intelligence services are a threat to the West. Indeed, perhaps not in exactly the way that the British intelligence services would like you to think. Indeed, it does seem that Putin is part of a far-reaching agenda. Indeed, he seems to be under electroshock treatment. Indeed, I've seen enough mental patients under electroshock therapy to recognize that Vladimir Putin is undergoing electroshock therapy, most probably from his Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst handlers. Indeed, it's interesting to consider that SMERSH, the Soviet counterintelligence network, was supposedly dissolved in 1946, but is actually a continuing operation today. Indeed, there are neo-Soviet intelligence continuums. Indeed, the KGB structure still exists as a supranational entity, parallel to but outside of the Russian state organs. And the case is the same for SMERSH. Indeed, SMERSH is still operative and attempting to utilize psychopolitics as a theory laid out by Lavrenti Beria, the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst KGB operative. Indeed, a lot of this psychopolitics is linked into psychiatry continuums operating the West. Indeed, many Western psychiatrists have adopted similar methods to Soviet psychiatrists, and all of these methods link back also to Nazi psychiatrists. So it's all rather interesting. Indeed, although Russian intelligence is a threat to the West, British intelligence is a threat to the West also, with British intelligence making billions of pounds a year, even potentially trillions, on illicit trades and attempting to undermine the population for the dominion of the Western aristocratic, banking, and industrial classes. Indeed, it's interesting to note that Western capitalists basically propped up a lot of the Soviet economy and allowed the Soviet regime to thrive as it did. But all of this seems to be part also of a Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst long-range agenda, whereby Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst operatives are coordinating both Western and neo-Soviet Russian intelligence structures with an end game created by German psychiatrists in the 17 and 1800s. Indeed, it's all a very interesting and very convoluted scenario, and the more I look into it, the more I confuse myself often. Indeed, it's all very strange and really quite scary. Indeed, I do believe that for several years I was under remote mind control by the Russian intelligence services that involved neuroscientists and parapsychologists basically remotely controlling my brain. And therefore, I most probably came across to the public as a Russian sympathizer or even an outright Russian agent. Indeed, the Russian intelligence and security services are really, really, really revolting people, and they seem to be on board with the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst international criminal cartel. Indeed, the GRU, the FSB, the SVR, and the KGB networks, as well as SMERSH, all seem to be coordinated by Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst interests. And if they're not outright coordinated by Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst interests, their interests are actually aligning. Indeed, the Nazi and Soviet continuum seem to be united in their wish to destroy the Western Anglo populations, basically. Indeed, British intelligence seems to have many eugenicist strains within their networks. So they are basically operating often as conduits for Nazi and Soviet continuum intelligence operations, which is really quite a scary situation. Indeed, there are many theories that the proliferation of drugs in the society of the United Kingdom and the United States is due to long-reaching Nazi and Soviet geostrategic ambitions. Indeed, it has been theorized that the Nazi networks coordinate everything through intelligence, drugs, and psychiatry. Indeed, the Nazi intelligence networks were some of the most complex ever seen on the history of the planet. And the Soviet networks also were very, very in-depth networks. Indeed, the Nazi intelligence structure penetrated the Western and Soviet intelligence agencies at the end of the Second World War, though it seems that the Soviet intelligence services were already heavily penetrated, if not under the outright control of the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst. Already, indeed, it seems that the Abwehr was controlling the Soviet intelligence services throughout the 1920s and the 1930s. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, as I stated, the Nazi continuum intelligence networks, Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst, and their Soviet conduits also coordinate much of the drugs trade, and indeed the Nazi corporations still run the global pharmaceutical trade. And regarding psychiatry, it's interesting that Western psychiatry now seems to be a synthesis of Nazi psychiatric mechanisms and Soviet psychiatric mechanisms. Indeed, Lavrenti Beria basically elaborated on his theory of mental healing, whereby the insane were basically surplus to state interests, and through psychopolitics that people needed to be aligned in their brains to the state, which is very Pavlovian in theory. Indeed, Beria also recommended that insane people be driven to suicide to kind of weed them out of society. Indeed, this is an interesting convergence of British eugenicist, German Nazi, and Soviet theories all kind of coming together as one element. Indeed, it's very difficult to really understand a lot of these narratives unless you really think deeply about the convergence of these networks. Indeed, Christopher Story posited that the Soviet Union was the first Illuminati black regime. Indeed, it seems that the networks running the Soviet Union were coordinated by networks of German lodges of various Neo-Templar orders, Illuminati Brethren, Insinuated Brethren, and Freemasons. And these networks had for a long time infiltrated Tsarist Russia and were able to place a regime there. Indeed, the nature of Soviet psychopolitics is evident in modern British psychiatry, and mental conditioning mechanisms. Indeed, it seems that the British mind control programmers have learned a lot from the Soviet mind control programmers over the years. Indeed, there was much exchange of information even during the Cold War, and even exchanges of programmers with Soviet programming actually being done, most probably in the United Kingdom during the Cold War, which is interesting to note. Indeed, although I previously elaborated on cosmicism within Russian intelligence programming, it seems that a lot of this was just a test because certain elements of the Russian intelligence services believe that they are in contact with some sort of extraterrestrial life force. And this is part of an occultism within the Russian intelligence services, which itself connects back to Nazi occult theories and Vril theories, etc. And it's absolutely terrible the way that Russian intelligence treats schizophrenics. Indeed, I do not believe that Russia is a very welcoming place to be a paranoid schizophrenic. Though it's quite interesting to note that with the synthetic drug explosion going on in Russia, which is in many aspects the responsibility of the GIU through Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst influences and Chinese Communist Party networks. It's interesting to note that there will be many cases of what I designated as a new mental illness, which is caused by a certain amount of brain almost degeneration due to synthetic drug abuse. So basically, I expect that the Russian Federation are going to open up more psychiatric hospitals and continue their Soviet policies of psychopolitics. Indeed, it seems that the networks running the intelligence services of the Russian Federation wish to weed out certain members of society that they do not believe will go along with their agendas. Indeed, I believe something like this, similar to this, will also occur in Britain, with British intelligence wishing to weed out certain members of society in a psychopolitical ambition, and they will basically initiate a large synthetic drug explosion in the United Kingdom, which will create this debilitating mental illness which doesn't have a name yet, which I believe that I suffer from due to synthetic drug abuse. And more psychiatric facilities, often secure psychiatric facilities, will be opened by the state who wish to implement a psychopolitical agenda on these segments of the population that they designated as targets. So it's all very interesting what is going on. Indeed, the form of totalitarianism that is taking shape in Britain is based in both Nazi ideology and Soviet ideology, and a convergence of the two mixed with British eugenicist philosophy and Lavrenti Beria's psychopolitics. So it's all quite interesting indeed. There are theories that the Soviet manual for brainwashing was a hoax elaborated by L. Ron Hubbard, but there seems to be rather a lot of truth in it, because these brainwashing methods are very important to understand. Indeed, this is not to defend Scientology. Indeed, it seems that Scientology was actually, the idea behind it was an intelligence front in view of the creation of a religion based on human sacrifice that the elites were thinking of introducing at some point. So it's interesting to consider effectively the Church of Scientology is a druidic network and basically part of several Templar and Masonic continuums, and is an outright intelligence operation with false activities a lot of the time. However, some of the information to be gleaned from L. Ron Hubbard's memos is actually very interesting, especially regarding the Nazi intelligence, drug, psychiatry nexus and aspects to do with SMERSH, the Soviet counterintelligence function, which I believe still exists today and may have had a hand in my overall programming. Indeed, it was SMERSH who arrested and incarcerated Solzhenitsyn in the Gulag. And there is much labeling of people that do not fit into society in the Russian Federation, just as there was in the Soviet Union. Indeed, there are so many people who are considered maladjusted to society, and this number is only going to increase with the synthetic drug explosion in Russia. Indeed, there will be a huge campaign of psychopolitics carried out on the Russian population by the intelligence and security structures, who in many essences are actually responsible for this synthetic drug explosion in the first place, in connection with the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese intelligence services and the overarching body, i.e. the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst Global Criminal Cartel, Intelligence, Mafia, Secret Society, Syndicate. So it's all interlinking. All of these elements are interlinking in some way. Indeed, the psychopolitical ambitions of the Soviet intelligence services and now the Russian intelligence services in many ways connect up also to the psycho-civilization ideas of Jose Delgado and the ultimate mind control of the population through nanotechnological means and the introduction of the microchipping of the population. Indeed, it's interesting to note that although I am basically stating that the Russian neo-Soviet intelligence services are a threat to the West, the British intelligence services are also a threat to the West, because they are working on psychopolitical mechanisms of control also. And many British intelligence operatives believe in Jose Delgado's psycho-civilization theories and wish to introduce mass microchipping of the population, beginning with the schizophrenic population. Indeed, it seems that much of the technology that may be rolled out to wider society is being tested now on the schizophrenic population. Indeed, there are also transhumanist experiments being conducted on the schizophrenic population, whereby the British intelligence services are introducing hardware to attempt to enhance the mind and testing this on members of the schizophrenic population, in effect creating a sort of singularity idea. And indeed, the transhumanism ideal, even the term, was coined by Julian Huxley, the eugenicist and brother of Aldous Huxley, who wrote one of the blueprints for future technocratic control, i.e. the Brave New World series, which isn't actually a hippie tale, it's a blueprint for totalitarian technocratic order, and is in many essences psychopolitical. So it's all interlinking the activities of the British eugenicists, the eugenicists of British intelligence, align with the Nazi continuum outlook, and therefore the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst international syndicate, and with the neo-Soviet Russian psychopolitical agenda. All of these networks are combining in their thinking, which leads to the question whether or not there is an overarching body here. Indeed, it seems like the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst are one tentacle, SMERSH are another tentacle, and British intelligence are another tentacle. But what is above these networks? This is the question. Indeed, maybe nothing. And due to factional rivalries, these networks are all having internal squabbles also. But it's interesting to consider that the SMERSH network did not dissolve in 1946. Indeed, what would have happened to the intelligence archives? Indeed, they continued. And they are one of the less talked about networks operating for the neo-Soviet continuum in the modern world, indeed, because everybody thinks that SMERSH are defunct. No one is aware of their counterintelligence activities. And the SMERSH network is one of the most dangerous networks operative and is a key link up between Russian intelligence and the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst. Indeed, it seems that much of the activities in the Second World War of SMERSH were part of a false conflict occurring between the Nazi intelligence services and the SMERSH networks. So it's all a very interesting scenario to consider. Indeed, I'm going to leave it there now.